So what does caramelization actually do when we're talking about caramelizing any type of vegetable, typically an onion? So when I think about caramelize, I think about caramel. And I'm just gonna take this off since I'm presenting. And caramel basically means to me sweetened. So when we are caramelizing it, we are heating it over heat that will allow the natural sugars of the onion to come out. And then we're cooking it in butter or sauteing it, caramelizing it in butter, which will also add another depth of richness. Okay, so this has been going for, I bet it hasn't been 30 minutes, but you can tell that the color has really changed and gotten a lot deeper. And that's what we're going for. We don't want it to burn to the bottom of the pan, but there might be some little bits of onion pieces that are kind of stuck to it. So because I'm presenting again, I'm going to go ahead and take my mask off so that I can talk clearly. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of garlic, which is equal to 3 teaspoons, and which is what I have available. 1, 2, 3. So let's go ahead and stir the garlic in. At this point, now that I've sauteed my garlic for about 2 minutes, I'm gonna stir in 3 tablespoons of flour. So this is going to allow my sauce, once I add my broth or sauce, to thicken my soup. So get that flour all cooked in, because flour is raw and it does need to be cooked and adhered to all of the ingredients within my pan. Now I'm gonna make a 1/2 cup of beef broth, which I'm using the Better Than Bouillon paste. I found this to be the best base at the grocery store. So it's a teaspoon per cup of water. So since I am doing 1/2 cup, I'm going to obviously use 1/2 teaspoon of base. You don't need to heat the water to make a base, because I'm just gonna add it to soup anyways. As long as you can get it out of the measuring spoon. That's the key. And sometimes what I do is I just kind of stir that spoon around into my ingredients to make sure to get any remaining bits of flavor out. You don't even really have to dissolve it. I just have a chunk floating around in there. It'll all come together. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Can you guys say that? Worcestershire? How else do people say it? Worcestershire, Worcestershire sauce. That's a tricky word to say, but we're gonna go with Worcestershire and a bay leaf. Now, when you cook with a bay leaf, it's important to remember to take it out when the recipe is finished, because nobody wants to bite into a leaf. It calls for 3 sprigs of fresh thyme, but fresh thyme is kind of difficult to find sometimes at the store. So we're just gonna go with a teaspoon of dried thyme. I'm now gonna add 6 more cups of beef stock. That first cup was just to kind of deglaze the pan, that first 1/2 cup. So now I need 6 cups. So I'm gonna go ahead and look for my quart liquid measuring cup, and I'll do my pint, which is equal to 2 cups. Now, how many teaspoons or tablespoons, I should say, do I need for 6 cups? If a teaspoon's worth a cup, so 1 teaspoon per cup, I need 6 cups, which is equal to 6 teaspoons, which is equal to how many tablespoons? So if I have 6, I'm gonna need 2 tablespoons of base. And like I said, there's no point in even mixing it because it's all gonna simmer together in a soup. So now all I have to do is add 6 cups of water. Okay, so I wanna go ahead and stir this mixture. Make sure you get all of that base combined. And I wanna cook it over high heat until it comes to a simmer. And a simmer basically means that there's small little bubbles starting to rise up. Not a boil where it's bursting through the surface, but just a simmer. Once it reaches the simmer, I'm gonna reduce the heat and let it cook for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'll discard the bay leaves, and then we'll be ready to start the next process. All right, so where we left off was our soup was simmering with all of our other ingredients. And what we're gonna do next is prepare the topping. So I'm gonna remove this for presentation. And I have a box grater with some Swiss cheese. I just bought a block of Swiss cheese, and I'm gonna grate about 1/4 of a cup per serving of grated Swiss cheese. Then I'm just gonna take a loaf of Italian bread, and I'm gonna slice off about 1/4 of an inch or so slice of French bread. And I'm gonna put all of my slices on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. And I'm gonna bake them in about a 400-degree oven until they're good and toasty. It's gonna take 6 to 8 minutes. You want it golden around the edges. As soon as that's done, we're gonna fast forward through the speed and technology of TV. And I'm gonna remove my toasted bread. And I'm gonna put it on top of then I'm gonna go ahead and top it with 1/4 of a cup of my shredded Swiss right on top of that bread. Now I can take my oven-safe bowl and soup with the cheese, and I'm going to turn it to broil. So broil, start. Now when you're broiling, you wanna keep a close eye on it because it's basically like an upside down grill. So you have direct heat coming down onto the top of your food, which is gonna give us kind of a golden, bubbly, cheesy appearance to the top. Now you can see that the broiler has caused the cheese to get melty and delicious, and the edges of the toast are GBD. My soup will be hot. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make French onion soup.